Welcome to the first of 10 training videos from DoMyExcel.com. In this first class, I want to introduce you to the environment of Visual Basic for Applications, short for VBA, as it relates to Excel, and teach you the basics of making your first macro. You'll see just how easy it is, and I'm sure you'll be impressed once you discover the potential of this application. If you want, you can follow along with me on your own computer, or wait until the end to try it out yourself. Either way, it's up to you. So let's begin. First, let's open Excel. Note that I'll be working with Excel 2013, and everything I do will work with other versions of Excel as well. If you should experience any problems, have questions or comments, please don't hesitate to contact me at DoMyExcel@gmail.com. So let's continue with a blank workbook. First, we need to display the Developer tab in the menu by following these steps. Go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and ensure that the Developer checkbox is on. This Developer tab will give you access to anything related to Visual Basic, VBA, and all your macros. To access the VBA environment, you can either click here on Visual Basic or press and hold Alt and F11. Okay, so here's where all the code of your macro will be written and stored. I will explain all the different options and tabs later, but for now I want you to focus on the most important window, the Project Explorer right here. This is where you'll go to navigate all your macros. If this window should ever disappear and you need to bring it up again, you can always find it under View and Project Explorer. Okay, let's get to it and write our first macro. There are different places where you can write a macro. For now, we will write them in a new module. To create a new module, simply right-click in the Project Explorer and click Insert Module to tell VBA in Excel you are making a new macro. To tell VBA in Excel that you're making a new macro, you have to give it a name and specify where the code starts and where it ends. You can do this by using the sub keyword followed by the name of your macro. So for example, my first macro. It's important to note that you cannot use spaces in the name of your macro. So to get around this, you can use underscores instead. When you're done, press Enter, and the program will automatically recognize that you're creating a new macro, and will finish the rest with end sub. Now we have a start and finish, but we need to fill in the middle with code, in which will go between sub and end sub. Let's start with something simple by creating a message box that will display a message to the user. To create a message box, all you have to do is use the MSG box keyword, followed by an open bracket. VBA will automatically detect the keyword, its structure and optional arguments of the command, and the little yellow rectangle below. We'll go into more details on this later, but for now, we just want to use the basic function of this command. Write the message you want to display to the user between two quotation marks and close the bracket. In this example, I'm going to have it say, "Welcome to DoMyExcel.com." Close the quotation mark and close the bracket. To see the results, you need to run the macro by pressing the little green triangle right here, or by using the keyboard shortcut F5. And there you have it. Congratulations on writing your first macro. When writing your macro, it's always good to have comments to reference what you're doing. So if you should need to go back and make changes, you can remember. It's easy to write comments, and you can write it anywhere in your program as long as it's preceded by an apostrophe, like this. Command to display text messages. VBA will automatically detect your comment and highlight them in green. Okay, so let's talk about variables. Let's say I want to display the same message, but instead using a variable. We'll create a variable called website. This variable will contain a chain of characters represented by two quotation marks. This is what VBA calls a string, or a text variable. We will assign the text DoMyExcel.com to the variable website. To do so, just write equals to DoMyExcel.com. VBA will automatically detect that the website is a text variable. However, it's always recommended to define a variable at the beginning of the macro like this: dim website as string. It will help you to be better organized, and also VBA will use less memory to try and understand what you want to do in the program. What is this variable? Is it a number? Is it a text? Then in the message box, instead of writing directly DoMyExcel.com, I wanted to use the text assigned within my variable, website. However, if you keep the variable inside the quotation marks, VBA will not recognize it as a variable, but as part of the text instead. It will display the text, "Welcome to website," instead. So you have to type the name of your variable outside of the quotation marks, and then create a link between the text and the variable. Use the AND sign. Now try your macro, see if it works. And there you have it. There is a very useful tool in VBA to track your macro when it runs. It allows you to check step by step what is going on and can help to easily understand and track errors in your code. To do so, just click the left to the line of code where you'd like the program to stop, and you will see a little stop sign in red. Now when you run your macro, the program will stop at the line you indicated and allow you to see the values to all your variables. When you run the macro, the yellow arrow represents the progress of the program. And when you move your cursor over a variable, VBA will display its value. Here at this point of the program, the variable website doesn't have any values. To tell the program to continue and to execute a line of code one at a time, just press and hold Alt and F8. The program goes from the first line, sub, of your macro to the last one, in sub. And now we can see that the text DoMyExcel.com has been assigned to the variable website. As you can see, it helps to better understand how your program works. Let's now see another way to give a value to a variable using Excel, for example. Let's go back to the spreadsheet and type the name of the website in Excel. Okay, so we want to assign the value of C4 into the variable inside our macro. So let's go back to our VBA environment and create another variable, website2. There are actually many ways to do this, but a simple way is to use the keyword range. Bracket, and you type the cell name. We want the value of the cell, so we will type a period and select the value property of the cell to assign its value. We can also define the new variable here by placing a comma outside our first variable and typing website2. Instead of displaying the value for website, we will display the value for website2 here in the text box. Alright, so let's run our macro and see how this works. Okay, so at this point, website is empty and website2 is empty. Let's step forward by pressing and holding Alt and F8. Now the variable website has a value. Press Alt and F8 again. Now we see that the program found the value that was written in the spreadsheet, google.com. So it should now display the website from our spreadsheet that we assigned to our variable website2. Welcome to google.com. OK. Now there is one thing I'd like to show you about using the range keyword. Let's say, for example, you have another sheet. The program won't know which sheet you are referencing to. By default, it always looks in the currently active spreadsheet. In this case, it would be sheet 3. So if you run the macro now, no value will be assigned as the value in C4 is empty. In order to fix this, you can specify the sheet name in front of the range keyword. So here you will type sheets and sheet 1 dot range without space. This is the name of the sheet. So let's run this again. Okay, now even if the second sheet is active, the program will look in the first sheet, sheet 1. During these classes and for the exercises, I'll encourage you to search the internet for further help or for new ideas. While you'll learn a good amount of important and basic functions during these 10 classes, further research will help you advance your knowledge of Excel even more. For example, let's see what else we can do with message boxes on the internet. So just type MSG box VBA. The Microsoft website is very good. You will always find the most reliable information there. So I encourage you to go to that website and read what else you can do with message boxes. You'll see there are many different types that exist. Let me show you an interesting one, where you can ask the user a yes or no question. In this case, you'll have to change the structure of the message box code. This will allow you to retrieve the answer from the user, the answer yes or no. If you look at the website, you will see that if the user clicks on yes, the value that you will receive will be 6. And if they click no, the value we will receive is 7. So to do this, the new structure will be like this. You will first need to create a new variable to retrieve the user's answer. So answer will be equal to the message box with the question, what is your answer? And here you will have to select what type of message box you want to use. So in this case, it would be VB yes no. After that, if we want to display the answer, now when we run the macro, what is your answer? Yes or no? Yes, 6. And no, 7. Okay, so one last thing I want to show you in this class is how to launch the macro directly from Excel without having to press the play button here. To do this, go back to Excel, and in the Developer tab, you can click on Macro and select the macro you want to run. You will find here a list of macros related to the file. So select the macro we just created and click Run. So another way you can do this is to go to Insert and draw a rectangle like this. Right-click and select Edit Text. We'll type Run Macro. Then you select it, right-click, and select Assign Macro. Then you can select the macro we just wrote. Now when you click on it, it will run the macro. Okay, so now it's time for you to practice. So as an exercise, I want you to create this file. In this sheet, A, you'll have a table with questions and answers. And in sheet B, you will have a button to run the macro. The macro will read every question in column C, and then we'll put the answers, 6 or 7, in column D. Let's see. So when we click, do you like the training? Yes. Yes, of course. Do you think you're ready for the second one? Yes. Did you finish the exercise? Yes. And then when we go there are your answers. 6 for yes, 7 for no. Then I want you to create a second macro that will read the answer and the question. So did you like the training? Answer 6. Do you think you are ready for the second one? 6. And did you finish the exercise? Answer 6. Okay, good luck, and I'm sure you can do it. Feel free to send me the results by email. And don't forget, when you want to save a file that has a macro, it has to be in a specific format. Simply go to Save As, and select XLSM. Otherwise, you won't be able to save your macro. Alright, good luck, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you for watching.